Welcome back to the channel. This is Punched, and still on the table is Grognard Simulation's title of Armored Knights, Guderian crosses the Meuse. So we're going to talk about a start of day interphase turn. That is a turn in which a number of things get modified. It's mostly a housekeeping sort of turn, and we are going to have a go at doing this particular thing. So, okay, there are 5 steps to this generally. The first one is a reorganization phase. In the reorganization phase, we can generally swap regiments, swap battalions rather. So things that are in the loss boxes, this is the loss box by the way. You can see quite a few French losses that we've accumulated the last few turns, with not all that many German losses. So what we can do here, though, is to regain regimental integrity, which requires a couple of battalions per regiment in order to do so. There is a nice rule that permits us to do that, and that is reorganization. So in this particular case, I have identified a unit, pardon the catty-cornerness of it all. I've identified a unit that I would like to swap out. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take, this is a somewhat attritted unit right here from the 200 and, let's see if we can do this, 231st Regiment. Hello, well, it's a bit hard to see. Anyway, we're going to swap that out, and we're going to take a unit from the 331st Regiment and replace it there. That will allow us to go to the other surviving 331st Regiment battalion, get in proximity, and I believe that battalion is down in this area somewhere. Once in proximity, they will begin to get that regimental integrity multiplier in the defense and in the offense if necessary. The Germans, for their part, have none. They have no reorganizations to perform. So let's continue on. I've scripted this, by the way. It took me about 10 minutes to think through what I was going to do for all the parts of this start of day interphase. It's not terribly complex. Mostly I was having to locate the units. It's quite a jumble here of various units, and so it was necessary for me to have a go and find things in the first place. All right, second item is we are now going to do out of command, out of supply checks. So I'm going to rotate again, and just think of this as this is the bad guys, right? If you ever watched the old Adam West Batman series, you know that when you're in the evil, you know, the supervillain's lair, the camera is always tilted over to one side. So I can tell you for a fact that the 1st Panzer has no supply, no out-of-command issues. They have a nice bridge. They're fully in supply. There are no problems with the 19th Panzer Corps Corps assigned units either. Also, we do have a situation over here, right here. We have a grand total of 4 plus, as it turns out, 6. 4 plus 6 steps of units here. They're all dismounted. Unfortunately, these ferry counters right here can only support 4 steps of units each, and it turns out I have 10 steps. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 2 motorcycle companies here and place them out of supply with everything that implies. It's a fairly safe move. There aren't any real negative consequences, as the French are nowhere in proximity that they can affect these units. This battalion, 4 steps, remains in supply, though dismounted. So we'll go with that. Okay, over here in this sector, we have the same situation over here for 10th Panzer. They are able to support a grand total of 4 steps of units. So counting these out, we have 2 steps here on the battalion, and this particular stack has 2 companies and a full battalion. That is a grand total of 8 steps. So I'm going to keep these in supply. Here is a unit that has been attrited a bit. It is a three-quarter strength battalion, so it's a little weak. I'm going to make that unit out of supply. Let me do this. You do wind up with a certain number of informational counters stacked up. Here's a couple of companies that came across last turn, and they will be out of supply as well. And that concludes it. We do permit things to be in communication with the headquarters. The headquarters is in this vicinity somewhere, and they're good for 15, either 12 or 15 hexes, if I recall. Nobody has got an out of command problem. So that is a good situation. All right. Now we're going to get on to replacements. Replacements is interesting. Replacements is your friend. It's going to be the French player's friend as well. So with replacements, we're looking at our loss boxes and we're looking at our daily loss track. So let me quickly go through this. So German first. The Germans get to replace 25% of their red, that's artillery, anti-tank, and so on. Red and blue, that's infantry type units. 25% of them, fractions round up. They get to replace 50% of their yellow, that is mechanized and panzer casualties. So the math comes out to be 2 stacking points worth of red and blue. Let's see, and 1 stacking point of yellow. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take, we don't have any, the panzers have not been engaged anywhere because they've been on the other side of the bridge. What I am going to do is to take this casualty unit, so hard to see. So it's a reconnaissance unit, and I'm going to place it, I believe it comes within 1 hex of the headquarters. So I'm just going to place it in this general vicinity, and we'll call it a day for that. By the way, I'm back up here placing that unit in this location. All right. Now, for the red and blue, I'm actually going to replace some step losses. So in my notes, I see that I'm going to bring back a step for this mechanized battalion. That's great. They're now at full strength again. And I'm also going to come back over here to that out of supply unit. It is what it is, but it was also at 3/4 strength. So I will remove that counter, and it is now at full strength. All right. Notice that the sequence of events here is a little bit important. Had I been able to take the replacement, I probably would have left this unit in supply, as it was further advanced than any of the other units. But I didn't want to take a company instead of a full battalion, and so I just went with it this way. Okay, the French, for their part, they get, back on screen, the French have quite a few casualties, don't they? I will note that this is my convention, it's not a rule, but I have located all the counters for units that have been entirely eliminated from the game, because both their line units, both the line units, that is to say the combat units, and also the headquarters, if they are ever both eliminated at the same time, the unit is gone. There's no possibility of coming back within the rules. If you eliminate everything except the headquarters, you can begin to bring replacements on near the headquarters and reconstitute the unit slowly over time, the formation, if you will. If you lose the headquarters, but you still have combat units, you can bring the headquarters back. But if you lose everybody in the same turn, they're gone. Still, the French have plenty of fodder here. It turns out the math for the French is 5 units of combined red or blue, that is artillery or infantry. They can bring back 5 steps, and they can bring back 1 step of armor. So in the French case, they're going to bring back a step right here. Let's go angled a bit. We're going to flip this guy back over and get a replacement there, and now that armor unit is back up to full strength. So for the other things that we're going to do, we're going to bring back these two anti-tank guns. I think they're going to be somewhat useful to us. Now, one of these says 10th Corps, but from the color, it has been attached to the 55th Infantry Division. So we're going to bring these back, and we're going to bring them back if I can get that on camera, we're going to bring them back at the actual headquarters right here. Okay, and we're going to bring back all three of the anti-aircraft units. They are fairly useful in the defense, and of course, the French don't have a lot of anti-aircraft in the first place, so we'll take whatever we can get. So it's a bit off screen at the moment. Let's see if I can do this. Shaky, sorry. This is the location of the 10th Corps headquarters. And so they will come back here and then begin to move their way back to the front. All right, that concludes replacements. Now I'm talking this out. Realize that, right? I am talking this out, and because I'm talking this out, it's going to take a bit longer to do than it would actually take if I were simply doing it. So next step, fortified hedgehog construction. It turns out that both the Germans and the French, pardon me, I'm going to relocate this. The Germans and the French are out of position. So not really much of an option. There are no units really that are poised to take advantage of the rules and begin fortified hedgehog construction. So we're not going to do anything about that. Right, then we're going to do air unit fatigue recovery. Okay, I'm going to demonstrate one or two die rolls. And here's the relevant chart. So it's a simple, basically what I've been doing is, let's see if I can put some camera on this. Give me just a moment. And in fact, I'm going to cut and we'll come back to it.